Parade!
100,
Sorry, how did you want to?
115 points last season. Franchise high. Never happened before. 105 years this team's been around.
I'm so depressed already.
And a goal away from overtime in the 7th game.
Oh, God, you didn't need to say that.
In fact, you could almost argue they got a goal robbed. Because they did. Because of a bad playoff call. But you know what? Those are going to happen.
It was a tie, so we have game 8.
Get over it.
The Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, what do you say? This looks like a pretty damn good team. But haven't we said that for 4 years in a row? Jesse, what do the odds makers have their regular season points at? And remember, when we do these, we're not talking about will they get out of the first round. No worry, we got all season to talk about that. We're talking about a regular season preview.
107.5 is their over-under.
I'm hammering the over on that.
I'd do the over. That's a lot of points, but I'd do the over.
What was? Can you say again what the record was?
115 is what they had last year, and that is the record. I think they're over.
Yeah, I would probably take the over here.
I'd take the over. And again, it's important for this discussion. We are just talking about the regular season. And I don't really think, like, of all the jokes in the 1967s and the 2004s and the first round jokes, all of those jokes, they don't apply to the regular season.
No, they don't.
We're talking about the regular season. They're a really, really good regular season team. They might be the best regular season team in the Atlantic. They might be the best regular season team in the East. They might be the best regular season team in the league this year. We'll see if it matters comes April. But this conversation is about the regular season.
Now let's talk about why most people would look at this team and say they're not. And that's goaltending.
Yeah.
There's a couple of question marks. Now it's surprising, and I'd love to talk to the guys at Russian Machine about Samsonov. It's surprising, and I'm going to start there, that he would be given up on that early. I know he had probably a higher QO than they wanted to pay.
Yeah.
But him being available at all, I'm sure the Leafs were a little surprised. And it seems like a great bet.
Yeah, like, listen, he was bad. He was not good for the Washington Capitals last year. But this is not your typical free agent goalie. This is not the sort of guy who hits a free agent market. I mean, he was given $1.8 million, right? Despite the fact that he was let go by his team. This is a guy who is younger than Eric Shelgren.
Wow.
He's 25. He's only 25. Yeah, he's got the first round pedigree. That was a long time ago. I don't know if we care about that. Wasn't very good last year. He's looked fine in the preseason so far. So is Matt Murray. What can you do with preseason results? Not very much. But would you be concerned if Samsonov got lit up in the preseason? Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Would you be concerned if Matt Murray got lit up in the preseason?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So at very least, we've gotten into October without hitting the panic button. Good start.
Right.
Good start.
And, there's no, pending RFA, UFA contract we're talking about. There's no big drama.
We've artificially made Matthews.
Yeah, I suppose, but nobody's really caring about that right now. Rasmus Sandin has signed.
That's all done.
So they're sort of, this is the now, the only thing I guess that's a pending UFA is the general manager. And I want to make this as much about the teams as possible, but
is that all?
But like with Chuck Fletcher in Philadelphia, you can't really talk about the Leafs without talking about Kyle Dubas. He's built what is likely the best roster we have seen on paper in our lifetime in the cap era.
Feels like we say that every year.
Yeah, but
every year it's true.
Every year it's true. You can't fault the guy. He's done the best he can.
It's the torturous thing about the team.
The defense,
year it's actually true.
The defense looks strong. Riley, Brody, Muzzet, Liljegren, Giordano, Holland, Sandin. When everybody's healthy, that's pretty strong. And you can make arguments. So there's a lot of people. Well, Morgan Riley is a defensive liability, and how many games can Jake Muzzin play? I mean, at the end of the day, I still think that as a committee, that's pretty strong. Hard to beat.
Yeah. And again, it's a really long regular season. Not, you go look at every team's roster. It's not 82s across the board. They have the offensive depth to score goals, even if guys get hurt. They have the defensive depth to defend well, even if guys get hurt. And even in net, like Shelgren was fine last year. You look at his save percentage, I think it was 888, but he had one just mercy killing at the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, that was so unfair. Otherwise, he was fine. He was fine.
And,
so they're 3 goalies deep for the first time in a long time.
And then you've got obviously an action-packed forward group. I mean, can you see a weakness on this forward group, guys?
It's very telling that the only conversations really to be had about the Leafs are the minutiae of the roster and the goaltending. Like when you're talking about, hey, what's going to happen with the Leafs? It's like, oh, okay, like is Wayne Simmons going to make the 4th line? Is Nick Robertson going to get a chance in the lineup? Those aren't big conversations that other teams might have where it's like, oh, does our first line center going to perform because he needs to take another step? No, everything is kind of established here, and we're just talking about the little things around the edges.
If there was a perceived weakness, it might be the left wing. But even that, it's not bad.
No.
You got Bunting coming off a 60-plus point season. Engvall ready to take a step. Yes, I know he's hurt.
Kerfoot's still there.
Kerfoot is still there, and we're discounting him because everyone's traded him in their minds. And with Tavares out, he's playing a little bit of center right now in the preseason, it looks like. As soon as Tavares comes back, then what?
Last year we were going, oh God, what are we going to do without Zach Hyman? They figured that out.
Yep.
Yeah,
right?
They got a better Zach Hyman.
And
Okay.
so
Okay.
Rookie of the year, Michael Bunting.
They got an adequate replacement in Michael Bunting.
Calle Yarncroke, 4-year deal, bit of an odd one, lower term, longer term. Lower money, longer term.
Yeah, which is weird because that's what he did in Nashville as well.
What does he bring to this team?
He's a dog. He got that dog in him. If you look at the X-ray, consistently a 15-goal guy, which isn't a lot, but it's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who I think can help on the power play, probably second unit, and a guy who can help on the penalty kill. I would say probably second unit. He's the Leafs like those Swiss Army knife guys, and he's definitely one of them.
Up front, also Nicolas Aube-Kubel. I'm just starting on the depth pieces. Don't worry, I'll get to the stars. What does he bring? I mean, he won a Stanley Cup. Producer Drew was like, "Oh, good luck having him." But what does he bring to the 4th line of this team?
What he potentially brings to the 4th line of this team is the 3rd line.
Maybe he's on the 3rd line.
I think they really like this guy. He brings an energy and a speed and dare I say a violence to his game, a real tenacity.
He's the kind of guy that you're like, what's he gonna do to me?
Yeah, what the Leafs have done for too long is had I would say a weaker team, a team that's easier to push around. But then they acquired Jake Muzzin and they acquired Wayne Simmons, and they are like, these are our designated tough guys. Jake Muzzin will hit you, and Wayne Simmons will body check you and punch you.
And Kyle Clifford will get a suspension.
Yeah, it's
for a hit that later on will be totally okay.
He's also in the tough guy conversation.
Yeah,
That's why I bring it up. It's not just the two.
No, and it's a good point.
Yeah.
Aube-Kubel, I feel like yes, I like what he brings, but he's part of a collective. Yarncroke isn't quite that, but he's tenacious. David Kampf is really, he can grind you down, but he's more of a defensive specialist. Zach Aston Reese, I think, is a little bit of the Aube-Kubel mold. And I'm interested to see, because Aube-Kubel's still a young guy, I'm interested to see if he can contribute a little bit more offensively. Like, it's great that you're good at both ends. It's great that you hit guys. Can you give us, like, I don't know, a dozen goals? That'd be nice.
So let me ask you this. Austin Matthews and Mitch Martin, real quick, guys, because we got less than a minute. Are they the best regular season 1-2 punch the Leafs have ever had?
Ever. They need to be both in the Art Ross and Hart conversation.
Okay. And we need them to get over the hump in that first round. Can Austin Matthews score more than 60 goals this year?
I hope so. It's something fun to watch. It almost felt like a distraction a little bit at the end of the season.
Are you hammering the over or the under at Sports Interaction? Let's say that odd was up.
I would hammer the under because that happens once every 10 years.
I think it was CJ or Elliott who threw out their 50 and 50 again.
It's possible.
CJ.
It was CJ, yeah, on Chris Johnson. So I'm going that route. I think that's a really fun thing to watch out for. I'm going to go the over 60 and watch out for 50 and 50.
Okay, gentlemen. So that brings us to the final pick. Where do you have the Leafs finishing in the division?
Number 1. I have them number 1. Tampa dials it back sometimes in the regular season. I do like your idea that they'll go full seek and destroy. That's the only thing that gives me pause. I'm not worried about the forwards, not worried about the defense, not worried about the goaltending. I'm worried about April, but that's not what you're asking about.
Jesse.
Number 1.
I have them not number 1. I have them way down in second place in the division.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Off a
second.
cliff.
Adam.
How dare you? I have them in number 1, and I have them winning the President's Trophy.
They're going to be in there.
I think that this team, first off, I think they understand that they don't want to play Tampa. And I think they understand that Boston could grit their way into third. They want to play the worst wild card team, whatever that is. They better hope it's not Boston. But it would be kind of dramatic and fun if it was. You have to admit,
No.
the Leafs need to win the division and give themselves every damn opportunity to get out of the Atlantic in the playoffs. Okay? They're going to win, and they're going to win the division.
This tandem thing is fun. Doesn't work come playoff time. I wonder if anyone emerges as the starter.